Hello everybody, and welcome to another episode of Splinter Cell Chaos Theory Map Tours. Today we're going to be looking into the Clubhouse, which is a pretty popular map. I do like this map quite a bit. It's pretty fun to play. It's got a mix of stealth and action, a lot of good stealth opportunities if you ask me, so let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, so spies spawn up top of the map here. They have to neutralize 4 out of 6 objectives on the standard version of the map here. Let's go ahead and pull up the tactical map. We do spawn way up here at the top. And then let's go ahead and go down to the ground floor first. So this map has a somewhat symmetrical design in that there are sort of 3 objectives on each floor, and it's a 2-floor level pretty much. So you're going to have your first objective in the steam bath computer terminal. All of the objectives are computer terminal hacks. First objective is the steam bath over here. We've got the jacuzzi kind of adjacent. There's this long connecting hallway that connects everything. And then there's another computer objective on the hallway area, kind of more towards the garden. The garden is on the side over here. This is just kind of a big open area with some side hacks that you can do to unlock a couple things. And then there's what they call the hall, or the red room, a lot of people call it, over here, also just off of the 2 main hallways. Just kind of another side area, comes from the spawn, and has a side hack as well. And then let's go up to the second level, which has kind of a similar setup. So you've got these 2, the main hallways up here. You've got the objective rooms in these 2 areas, so they're kind of stacked on top of the downstairs objectives. So we have the tea room, and then we have the lunch room upstairs, and then there's also another computer hack upstairs in the hallway towards the garden side. So you got these 3 objectives here, and if you go down, there's the 3 objectives here. So they're kind of stacked on top of each other in that way. That's why I think it's kind of symmetrical. But you'll see more as we go what I mean by that. Let's go ahead and get into the map itself. And if you take these poles from the spy spawn, this is going to go to the hall, or the red room, which is kind of like a side area that goes to both of the main hallways. So it's a pretty decent place to start here initially. Let's just kind of drop down. And drop down even further. So this is the main red room, kind of a side area. This kind of demonstrates how it's set up. So there's the 2 main hallways, one here and then one stacked right on top of it on the upstairs level. And then each hallway is going to have their 2 main objective rooms off to the side up there as well. And then each one has a garden side computer terminal hack. So that's the main gist of that. Let's go down the main floor of the first level. There is a security camera that guards the main entrance of these 2 objective rooms. Let's go ahead and just hack this panel, which will allow access to the main objective rooms. Usually those are Merc-only doors, so you do have to hack that to get access, or use some of the other ways to get in. If you go into this main objective here, this is the steam room. As you can see, it's quite steamy in here. We have our objective panel. And then there are these cameras on either side. So you do have to be aware of those on either side. There is a vent that can be opened by shooting it over here to get into the room. And then there are these other 2 steam pipes, which can also be shot out, but we'll find another way to unlock them as well, just to show you all the available options. But that kind of goes to another, underground sort of area, so we'll get around to that. Coming through into the other main objective room, we have the jacuzzi room. There's all these little hot tubs in here. You got your computer panel, and then it comes around, to the other side here. We got same thing. We got the 2 cameras on either side. So there's one here, one there, guarding both of those main doors. And then we also have the pipes that can be shot out or destroyed over there. And we also have the vent that can be shot out to gain access to this room as well. So kind of a similar setup on both sides of this hallway. If you come down to the end of the hallway, you'll see there are some extra vents that come into this hallway, but we'll get around to that. You also see that there's these little rocky sand pits. Take note of those. We will get around to a little extra detail about those. And then here's the main hall objective. So we got your main computers on the garden side over here. And then there's also a health kit in the garden computers. Let's go ahead and just head upstairs. There are elevators on both sides. So there's an elevator over here, and there's also an elevator on the far side of the hallway. So each end of the hallway has an elevator. Spies or Mercs can use the elevators. And kind of a similar setup upstairs. So got these two kind of main hallways upstairs. You got your garden computer over here next to the garden, just like downstairs. And then you have the two objective rooms on this end of the hallway, and they all connect to the red room, which we were in before. Same kind of thing where you got these vents that access the objective rooms on either side. There's actually a third one up here as well. And then there is also the camera guarding the main entrance to the objective rooms, which you can hack this glass door, which is, again, Merc only usually. Goes to this back hallway area where there is a back window which goes to some kind of spy only routes, which we'll get around to. But let's go ahead and pop into the lunchroom. Now upstairs there are lasers as well. So if you get into this lunchroom, we'll go towards the back here, and more lasers. And then here's the objective in this part of the room. There are false ceilings up here that you can get up into. We'll probably explore those a little bit more in detail later. And then let's just go pop our way over to the other side here. And similar setup where you got the lasers guarding the main entrance to the room, as well as this back area near the objective, as well as the objective computer. So kind of a symmetrical setup in a way. And same kind of ceiling that you can get into and all that. So that's kind of the main gist of these objective rooms and how they're all connected. And let's just go out and pop our way to the garden. Just real quick, there is what they call the library. This is just a Merc spawn, so nothing too crazy important there. And then here is the garden. So this is just the kind of side area that connects alongside the hallways. It does have a little staircase. You can go up or down floors. And then it's got, entrance to the level 1 hallway, entrance to the level 2 hallway up here. In this garden, there are some extra little side hacks that we will probably talk about shortly. And I think I already mentioned that there's these kind of two side rooms over here, which kind of connect to the spy spawn, which is up there, by the way. That's where we initially spawned. So you can kind of use these little side rooms to connect to the main hallway and things like that. So we'll get around to that. So that's kind of the main layout. Let's start getting into a couple of the details of each area now. So since we're in the garden, let's go ahead and get a couple things done. So first of all, let's go ahead and do one of the more important side hacks here, which is you can open up the glass. So when we were up in the spy spawn, there was this sort of glass ceiling, which you can actually see here. But this is all glass. It's all covered. So even though you're up there, you can take the ladder down, but you cannot really do anything except for there's a little vent up there. Let's go ahead and open up this glass. And it also is going to unlock this right here that I'm looking at, this little glass panel we can watch open. So that's going to open too. So now we've got extra access for the spies from the spawn. So see, this is now open. So you can come down from spy spawn down the ladder and get onto like this little catwalk area. So definitely a little faster infiltration routes to get to the second floor and things like that. So, and then while we're in the garden, let's also do the other side hack. So there is this little panel here. It's got this little grate. And if you recall all those little steam pipes in like the jacuzzi And the steam room, this destroys all of them. So instead of having to shoot them out individually, it will destroy all of them. It unlocks this grate, and now we can get into the lower floor of the clubhouse. And then if you'll also remember, those little sand pits with rocks, those have all been destroyed by the steam exploding. So now you have all these extra routes to the floorboards on the lower level. So this opens up a lot of stealthier routes to kind of move along this hallway as the spy without getting detected by mercs. So definitely a very helpful little hack right there. Let's see here. Let's go over to the little side area here just to kind of cover that as well. Well, actually, while we're in the garden, let's talk about a couple of the other little vents and things. So there is this little pathway down here, which you can use to kind of get around the garden area. Probably doesn't get a whole lot of use, but it can be useful to kind of maneuver around in the garden area, kind of get to the glass hack or the steam hack a little bit more stealthy. Kind of pops up around here. So that's a useful little thing here. And then there's also the vents on the side here, which this is kind of like a long vent that goes along the side of the garden. And, you got these little exits you can pop out of. There's a few of them off of this vent. Here's another one. And if you go up this pole, this is going to go back to the spy spawn location. This route down here is going to go into that kind of upstairs little side room with the swords in it. So this is just kind of like another little side area. You can take this vent down to change levels. So that goes to the bottom. If you take this side vent here, this is going to go underneath the floorboards again, so you got more access to the floorboards. And if you continue on, you've got a couple extra routes, so you can either take this left route, and this is going to pop up into the red room or the main hall area. And then this is the other side. So this leads back down to the floorboard. So you got a couple of exits from there. And then you can take this back to the little side area over here with the little shrine going on over here. Let's go ahead and take this back up as well. So this will go back up to the little area with the swords. That's where you pop down from the spy spawn. That comes down from there. And I kind of wanted to show you the glass hack just so we can look at that as well. So let's get back into that side vent, take the pipe back up again. And now, as you can see, the glass has been opened from the spy spawn. So up there is where you actually spawn. And now we've got access to these catwalks. So you can come down this catwalk, come down this catwalk as well. From the garden, there's some other little things like this vent, which goes to the second floor ceiling. So let's go through in here. This is going to lead into the second floor ceiling. There are these little electrical conduits on the top floor as well. So you can, once again, shoot them out just like the steam pipes. Or there's another hack that unlocks all of them, which I'll kind of head towards that way. When you're up in the second floor ceiling, you can obviously just drop down into the hallway. And then there's a couple other things here. So this is actually a co-op spot. So you can co-op from this is the area with that little shrine. I'm trying to see if you can see it here. But you can co-op up into the second floor using this route. And then we have another route that leads to what they call the hall or the red room. This is another co-op, so you do need someone to boost you or human ladder your way up into this area up here. While we're in the main hall, let's do the other side hack. So, kind of like the steam pipe hack, this one is for the electrical conduits. So that's going to blow all those electrical conduits up and give you access to the kind of ceiling area. Let's get into a couple more details of each of the objective areas. So, we already kind of used the main entrance to the steam bath. There's also these little routes you can take into the objective rooms, which you can destroy to get in. And we already kind of covered the main area back there, but now we have this. See, this is where the steam pipes were. They have been destroyed. You can now go under these floorboards of each objective room. And while we're over here, there is a very important pipe right here. This is going to allow you to change levels to the back window area. So very, very important here. There's also a co-op from the hall or the red room area. I'll maybe go back and show where you can get into that, but that's where that pops out. And then let's continue on the floorboard area downstairs while we're down here. So continuing on, this little path here connects the objective rooms. So the steam and jacuzzi are connected through this little path here. You can kind of go into the back around here, just kind of little hiding spots. And then this does pop out underneath as well. So again, you got your cameras and everything in the main objective. There's also the vent that allows you to come into the main hallway. So each objective room has a sort of vent. You can even see it over there. That gets you into each objective room. And let's go back. I do want to point out that co-op while we're thinking about it here. So if you come back to this back hall upstairs, that's the co-op. So this is the co-op that's going to lead you to the ultimately the window, the back window upstairs, which is a very valuable co-op if you ask me, because it kind of gives you access to both top floor objectives and that pipe, which drops down into the steam and the jacuzzi. So you have access to a lot of objectives if you make it to that back window. Definitely highly recommend using that. Upstairs we've got, again, the vents that kind of go into each objective room. They can be shot out, but we did that hack, which unlocked all of them. In this objective room, over here, the T room, you can get into this ceiling, and you know, all kinds of little places to drop down from here. The objective is right below us, right here. That's the computer. And then it does have this little co-op as well, which you can use as an escape, but also you can co-op your partner up into the T room from here. This is, again, the back window. So you can use the co-op from the hall or the red room, drop down into here, and then boost a teammate up into the T room. And then your other teammate can take this pipe down to the steam and jacuzzi, or they can maybe try going over to the lunchroom, or maybe start heading over to the garden. So that's kind of the idea behind that. Let's go and roll these lasers. There are lasers there. And the other thing to note about this, so we've got the same situation where you can get into the ceiling in this level here. And the computer objective is just down below us here. We also have another vent that comes into this area from here. This is kind of on the side over here. And then the other thing I did want to point out is these walls can actually be destroyed. So these can be destroyed by like frags or merc bashing, things like that. So you can actually destroy these false walls, which is actually better for the mercs because they can, instead of having to go all the way around to get to the objective, they can just go right through this little opening once those walls are destroyed. So a lot of mercs like to actually just bash those walls down. You do take damage when you charge into the wall, but you can just go bash down the wall over there, go back to the health kit, which is just like right in the main hall over here. And then it just kind of opens up those walls so you can defend them more easily and just shoot frags a little bit more easily. So that is definitely useful. Let's go ahead and get into this ceiling of the second floor. And again, this is the co-op that goes to the hall there. This is the one that kind of pops into that sort of shrine room down there. And we got all these little drop downs. And then we've got this little route that comes back to the garden. So that is that. Let's go ahead and use this other glass route that we unlocked earlier. So there's also this area on the side. So you can take this little vent. Oh, before we go too far, there's also a co-op right here, which goes to the lunchroom ceiling. So that'll get you, you can get both spies to the lunchroom easily that way. Or you can take this little vent here, which just goes right in front of the library, which is the merc spawn at the end of the hallway. So we've got that. And then if you drop down another floor, this is kind of a one-way situation on this version of the map. And then you can do a running jump up into this vent to get to the first floor. So this is, again, just the end of the first floor hallway. So that is pretty much everything on Clubhouse. If we're talking about a little bit of strategy on this map, so first of all, if you're the mercs, general strategy is to have one merc upstairs, one merc downstairs, and then kind of using the elevators on both end of the hallways to kind of support each other. Like if there's a double, like two spies going for the same objective or the same level, so you can kind of support each other that way. But general rule, you do kind of want one, merc per level, just to make sure the objectives are guarded on each floor. As the spy, you do want to take the objectives in an order that is not going to be to your detriment, because you do have to take 4 out of the 6. So one mistake that people do make is they take all the objectives from one floor. So they'll take the garden over here, and then they'll take, say, steam and jacuzzi objectives. Now all the remaining objectives, despite only needing one more objective to win, they're all 3 upstairs, and now you can, now both mercs are just going to go to that same floor, and it's much easier to defend a whole floor with 2 mercs. You can pretty much just have a merc guarding, the garden. They can easily support the other 2 objective rooms, or vice versa. So that is kind of the general thing. You do want to switch floors a lot when you are the spy, as far as taking objectives. Again, I'll just, we already kind of went over here, but this back area is going to be quite important as the spy. This pipe back here, because this is the pipe that allows you to change floors quite easily and just really rapidly hit level 1 and level 2 objectives. You are away from the garden objective, so, good mercs will just kind of stick to the back, and they know you're changing levels, so the bottom floor merc and the top floor merc will just kind of stay towards the back and just be able to, force you away from here. Mercs do like to put a lot of passive security on this window, because it is such a good window to use that you're probably going to see mines over here, spy trackers, things like that. Couple gadgets that are useful on this map for spies, especially spy bullet is going to be very helpful, just knowing where the mercs are, being able to put a bullet down during your hack to see the mercs coming. You can hear the glass doors opening, which does give you some indication that the mercs are on their way, but if you hack the panel, then that goes away. So the spy bullet becomes a little bit more important. Snares are also pretty good on this map because there is a decent amount of passive security that you can trigger to misdirect mercs. So like even from here, you can like trigger these lasers from the window, for instance, or even the camera. If you hack the glass, you can probably get that camera triggered, and then just swap down to the jacuzzi and the steam rooms downstairs, just to kind of keep them misled, keep them running around a little bit. That's a pretty good tactic. So make sure you're switching floors often as the spy, keeping the mercs going up and down. You don't want to focus on one floor exclusively on this version of the map. So that's pretty much Clubhouse. Hopefully I got everything. There are quite a few little side routes and things like that. Little vents that go into the ceilings and things. So just experiment in case I did miss a vent or two. I thought I covered most of the main ones at least. But if you guys are liking these map tours, definitely like the video, subscribe to my channel, use the links in my channel description to start playing the game. I do have links to the most recent updated version of the game, as well as the software needed to connect and play the game, as there are no official servers. So let me know if you have any questions about anything, as far as the maps, strategy, how to set up, things like that. I try to be helpful as possible. And I will see you guys all in the next video.